Key to making trucking great again is having the right mindset. Don't you let nobody tell you differently. Tonight, we're going to dive into the power of personal responsibility. Debate whether it holds the key transforming our industry from inside out. Personally, I think that's the best way to do it. But it's not me telling you, it's you telling us. Join the conversation and ask yourself, is it time to raise our standards in order for us to, once again, make trucking great again? We're also covering more on Milton and what can be done to help others. So join us tonight as we cover more trucking news from the front lines. I have no idea what's going on here, but obviously that doesn't want to work. Oh well, technical difficulties. Broadcasting from inside Truckin City's home headquarters, having more fun than any serious individual like myself should be allowed to have. Single-handedly pointing out there's always a way to make trucking great again. 13 years and counting I've been in this industry, and I want to bring you guys along for the ride. Doing this with a skill granted by God himself. Milton is hitting on the heels of two other major market-disturbing events. The ILA strike and Helene. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. Also, Louis Pugh is on Freight Waves, and he's offering cautions to truckers on fraud on the heels of Milton and other disasters. He's quoted as saying, "We usually tell our members that if a rate is too good to be true, it probably is. But because of the demand of emergency supplies, you're going to see some really good rates going into these disaster areas. And chances are you're going to have to be diligent enough to separate what's real from what's fraudulent. So it's going to be tough for a little bit of time. So you've got to have your head about you." And arriving just 2 weeks after the misery wrought by Hurricane Helene, Milton has also knocked out more than 3 million people down in Florida, and flooded barrier islands and tore roofs off the baseball stadium and toppled a construction crane, amongst other things. We'll get into more of what's going on down in Florida as it relates to Milton. And of course, more along the lines of things you can contribute to. Again, it's personal accountability. Do you guys think you're personally accountable for what you do? Well, just hang tight, because we're about to find out.
Shall we begin?
YouTube's most unique news show has begun. The fastest growing YouTube channel, Truckin City News.
And I am gonna beat him.
The president telling Justin Trudeau to get tough.
There was no information online.
And the El-Rushbo of Truckin News, Boss Man. Eight 860-785-3547. That's the number to call us and give us your take on what's going on in trucking tonight. Email us at thatstruckinnews@outlook.com. Greetings, truck lovers, truth seekers, and visionaries. We are back behind the golden PI microphone. Welcome to the best call-in show for truckers, run by truckers and administered by me, the CIC of the Truth in Broadcasting Network. We are taking news on trucking to the front lines. We are ready to give you our best. If you'll just do me one favor, take a moment, go ahead and subscribe, become part of the pack of people that want to make trucking great again. It's not a major thing. It's not a cult. It's not a thing. It's just the right thing to do. Help others in the industry become better. Join this channel and its mission to help others succeed. That's all I'm asking for. If you do your part, the industry will become better, no doubt. So we're going to get to some great news this evening. No, well, we're going to start off with some not so great news, but we're talking about, of course, the hurricanes. All right, I'm kind of focusing over here because that's where all my stuff is. So definitely pardon me on that. Yeah, we've had quite a. I mean, we've had here in North Carolina area a lot of setbacks with hurricanes and everything going on with Milton. Only after, Helene, we're not affected by Milton, but Florida was affected twice. They got hit by Milton, Helene, then they got hit by Milton. So to those of us that are here helping here, don't stop, keep it up. But if anybody's kind of stepped back and regrouped and now wants to help with Milton, hopefully we can give you some eyes on the ground and at least a little bit of understanding where to go and the right way to do things. Because a lot of times the first thing you lose in a hurricane situation or an affected area is usually communication. Central Florida flooding, down trees, debris resulting from the Milton winds are making some roads in Central Florida unpassable. The officials urge residents to stay off the roads, allow crews to get things cleaned up and put in under this live tonight a county by county look at information regarding updates to road closures and really put a. But in terms of the information about Milton, here's the latest. We all know that interstate travel can be treacherous, even on the best of days. But when Mother Nature unleashes her fury, like with a storm the magnitude of Milton, it calls for a level of caution that can't be overstated. Here's the latest.
Residents of Southwest Florida are beginning to get a clearer picture of the destruction from Hurricane Milton. These recovery efforts are complicated by the fact that cleanup had just started from Hurricane Helene, which hit the region just 2 weeks ago. A massive cleanup is underway on the east coast of the state as well after a deadly tornado outbreak tore through communities there.
Of course, Milton made landfall 2
Inter oh, everything right. Nope, nothing's working. Assuming you can hear me. All right, John, I got to ask you, is my audio coming through?
Yes, it is. I
All
hear
right,
you loud and
everything
clear.
everything in my studio just decided to lock up. So I apologize for the intrusion, guys. I'm just going to read what I have because obviously my computer is not going to work.
I should probably let you know it's a little choppy here and there. I don't know if it's your internet or maybe lower your resolution or something.
It's already as low as it's going to get, so it's not the resolution. There's something else going on. Anyway, all right. forget what ain't working. Let's deal with what is working. I understand people or are down in that area. What can you tell us about what's going on with Milton above and beyond what I may have?
Well, I can tell you, I know somebody that's around that area, and they never finished cleaning up from Helene when that came through. There's still trees down and signs down, and it's still a mess. And then right south of that, Milton came through. So, yeah, it's going to be a while before they get everything cleaned up. Um, just keep those people in your prayers, and there are definitely some good, outstanding organizations out there if you want to help out. But the other problem that's happening is a lot of people are heading back to their houses since the largest evacuation in Florida history, and it's creating traffic issues all the way down the west side of the state. So,
Yeah, yeah. As I said earlier, I've got a link that I have already queued up and is on my computer. I'm going to put that as a link under the live once it's done. So hopefully that will give people the right information about at least road closures and interruptions transit-wise. That's what us truckers need the most. So as you're heading into these affected zones, there's a few practical tips I want you guys to know to keep yourself safe. And this is really basic stuff, but I think it goes well with saying you probably need to be reminded once in a while. It don't hurt to keep these things in mind. With active construction projects going during the when with you high up, but that is smiling real time either or through the local 511 and local authorities where you're going. It doesn't hurt to stop and double check before you move your truck that where you're going is clear and you have concise directions on where to go to avoid delays. And definitely make sure while you're loaded and while you're going anywhere, whether you're flatbed or van, doesn't matter. Make sure everything's secured and tied down. You never know what you're going to have. You could be dealing with sudden stops or need for a sudden maneuver, or anything goes on in these areas. So you really need to be ready for it, and you really need to check to make sure that your load's secured and can deal with that jostling around. Other thing to keep in mind too is keep your fuel tank full. Okay, a lot of times people forget about that, especially if you're new out near and you're not really familiar with it, or you've never driven through these kind of areas before. Fill up your tanks, because otherwise you're going to wind up being rescued, and they don't give discounts for hurricanes. So fill up when you can, and don't wait until you get down there to find out they don't have fuel. That's a good idea.
I have another one for you.
Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
Make sure you carry cash.
Yeah.
In the areas where there are no electricity, there is no credit card usage. If the store's open, all they can take is cash. So anytime you're going into these areas, make sure you carry cash. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to buy fuel, even if you find some. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely do that, and also, think ahead, because you're going to be going into places that may be low on normal supplies. You may take for granted. Things like toiletries, things like washes. The washing stuff for your clothes, and just taking shower supplies, things like that are probably going to be nil or zero. So always think ahead. Take inventory of the supplies you have and what you're carrying down, and make sure that everything's accounted for, that you're not delayed, do not answer questions, especially when you get there. You may find out you don't have something or they're short of something, so you can communicate that as you go. Communicating with the local authorities before you get there is essential, okay? If they're involved, they can direct you to safe loading and unloading areas you may not already know about. So that's an essential thing. So when you guys are out there, safety is your number one priority. Make sure to stay calm, stay alert, and make sure you stay informed. Not just we're delivering hope to folks who need it the most. They've already been given the full double whammy. We need to increase that with delays on our part. So now it's time to hear from you guys what tips you may have. John's given us one. We're also going to talk about another affected area of the country that I think probably has gone unnoticed, but I know that it's probably a good idea to keep everybody informed. So, what say you, Thumper, about what's going on in the West? I understand you've got some information regarding fires. Do you want to update us
Yeah,
on that a little further?
yeah. So up here in the Midwest, mainly the Wyoming and North Dakota area. North Dakota, over the last couple weeks, we had three major fires break out. The Tioga Ray fire, which did the most damage and had two fatalities and livestock and all taken away and everything. That one is under control. We got the Bear Den fire. That's so far as of today, that's at 11, almost 12,000 acres. That's 50% contained. The Elkhorn fire, that has about 10,000 acres have burned up, and we're at 60% contained. Total acres that were in fire in North Dakota was 11 or 110,000, and it's still climbing because the other two fires are going. The major one that it seems like that is kind of going unseen right now is the elk fire in Wyoming. Right as of this morning, I've been kind of watching it all day. It's been going up and down. It's going from 15% contained to 32% contained. There's over 1,000 firefighters there fighting this fire. Um, from yesterday to today, it was at 84,328 acres. That's a 3,000 acre increase this year, just overnight.
Wow.
So they're having, as you showed the picture on there, on the screen there, that is taking at the Elkhorn fire. And I don't know if anybody else could see it, but you got the guardian angel with the sun as the head. I thought that would be a really good picture to show and kind of showing that there's a little bit of hope there. Kind of give
Yes.
you a little what we got going on over at the Elkhorn fire. Sounds like they're going to need trucks to evacuate some more cattle. Um, I kind of got word on that. They're not 100% sure on it. It's heading towards a town right now that is a big cattle community, and they might need some more trucks there. But as far as resources, just kind of give you a little brief description of what they got going on over there. They have
Hmm.
11 helicopters, one UAS, four air tankers. There's 20 crews on the ground, 66 engines, eight dozers, 16 water tenders, five masticators. I don't know what that is.
Right.
Seven skids, five feller bunchers, and one processor. So they are trying their hardest to get this under control. And even I don't know, we might have some local firefighters. They are taking volunteers and stuff. I'm actually kind of getting to the point where I'm about ready to pack my gear up and go out there and just kind of help out where I can, whether it's digging a trench or whatever. But you know,
Right.
the community or they're gonna need supplies here eventually once they
Yeah,
start getting
even
stuff under
even the
control.
slightest, yeah, even the slightest thing anybody can do to help. I mean, from a volunteer or just a supply standpoint. I mean, it's whether it's Milton or whether it's in Wyoming. I mean, if you could do something, by all means, even the smallest thing will make a difference in somebody's life. At least
Yeah,
make
and as
somebody's
of
day
right
easier.
Yeah, and as of right now, I know out in Wyoming, they're not asking for anything right now because they want to get it under control before they start having trucks or even just volunteer people come out because they don't want to put your guys' life in danger either. So,
No, no, no. They don't want people just
I,
going in, like full Rambo, but
yeah,
certainly does. Even if all you can do is contact one of the local authorities and find out if you need stuff, where to go and put it in their hands, let them deal with it, let the logistics be done by somebody trained. That by itself is enough. I mean, that's
yeah,
kind of what I suggest in the case with Milton. I mean, there's no sense going in there and becoming part of the traffic tie-up if you don't know what you're doing, because you
yeah,
then could become part of the problem. So, same
yeah.
thing with your case.
And if you guys are interested in trying to help out or something, the best people to get a hold of too in Wyoming would be the Sheridan County um, Police Department, fire departments.
Good enough.
They're the ones who are kind of taking control of it right at the moment.
Good to know. Good to know. While I'm sitting here still trying to diagnose what's wrong with my computer. Um, Anybody else on the panel got anything to add? Let's welcome some of our audience members, and as soon as I can get to my comments. So
Watch driving through washed out roads. I mean,
watch out. Yes.
because it don't look like it's not deep, don't mean it ain't.
Yeah, could be compromised. Very well could be compromised, and you don't want that causing a problem.
Probably a really badly timed joke, but if you decide you want to drive through water just to test it, make sure you get a video. If it doesn't go well, send it to me.
That's funny. That's funny.
Leave it to John. I don't care
yeah,
who you
yeah.
are. That's funny stuff right there.
There you go. Yeah. Anybody in the audience, if you've got something to add, certainly let us know. We're going to say hello to Seven Seas Transport. Thank you for joining us tonight. Also, Chief Freight Hauler joining us this evening. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. And Griff USMC, another steady customer. I appreciate you guys getting with us. If you guys know anything, if you're watching, we've got quite a few watching as far as I can tell. If you're in the areas, either in North Carolina, have anything to offer, or in the area, in case of Milton, or maybe if you're out west near where these what you call the fires are, certainly drop a comment, let us know. Call our studio line 860-785-3547. Be a barter of good information. You might save somebody's life. You never know. So that's what we're here for, and we're hoping you guys can rely on us to do that for you. If you like everything up to this point, I ask you just go down, hit the like button, become a subscriber, follow us for more. We do this to keep you guys informed and ready to go. Inspiration, news, and good old-fashioned debate right here on Truckin City Frontlines. We're going to try moving on to segment number 2. Don't know how much luck I'm going to have because my computer's been acting funny all night. But guess what? I'm not going to stop. I'm going to try. All righty. Even though it's not cooperating, I don't care about cooperation. I'm going to do my own thing anyway. And goodbye. All right, there you go. Gentlemen, personal responsibility, in my eyes, is the key to making trucking great again. Let me tell you why. The heart of what's really driving young professionals away from trucking, it seems, is every time you turn on the news, what you see, you get hit with yet another story on how the industry needs reform. We need better rates. We need better this. We need a favorite buzzword, in fact, of the media, right, is reform. They're quick to tell you that trucking companies need to pay more. They need to offer better benefits. They need to provide cushy working conditions. And every time you turn around, you're hearing more and more about union this rights that, whatever, okay? I'm about up to here with it. But what really gets my goat, and I think we really need to focus more on, is personal accountability. And here's what's driving me on this, and here's the reason why I say it. Hopefully, this plays right.
The Owner-Operator Independent Driver Association says recruitment is just part of the problem.
Minnesota is currently looking into how it can get more new drivers in the truck driving industry. But the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association says it's not just a matter of getting new blood into the business, but also finding ways to retain them.
The current industry isn't always safe for drivers on the road. The overtime exemption can often leave drivers on long trips without options if they run out of time and don't have a rest stop to park at. Additional training and infrastructure is also needed.
Not a safe place to sleep. You're probably not trained how to do the job the way you should be, so you're not you're uncomfortable in that. You're giving away 20, 30 hours a week. You're making $14 an hour, and you're not at home when you can go work at McDonald's and make more and be home every night? Why would you want to stay?
I'll tell you what, I don't exactly like that was reported. And if you saw who it was, fine. You call them up and give them grief. But here's how I look at it. You see, trucking is not a 9 to 5 job. Okay. It's not where you can just go in and coast in with the same bare minimum and accepting it and say, okay, no problem. Trucking is a way of life. It's a commitment. It's dedication to excellence. And if you want to make it in the industry, it starts with you. You've heard me say this before. It starts with your choices and it starts with your standards, your personal responsibility. So let's get into the heart of what really matters here. Ask yourself, when was the last time you accepted less just to keep moving? I mean, maybe it was a load didn't pay quite right, or you ran into something that you knew wasn't worth your time, but you took it anyway because you saw opportunity on the other end. We all do that. We've all been there. Say, we'll do that, and then we'll say, okay, it's the last time. But because your standards haven't changed, what else has? Think about it. When was the last time you actively took steps to better the industry by helping someone else along the way? Okay, see, that's the thing about personal responsibility. It's not just about meeting your own standards. It's about raising the bar for others, showing them by example and saying, this is how we make trucking great again. We have to stop waiting for companies and organizations and government agencies to swoop in. We have to stop waiting for them to swoop in and save the day. We need to stop looking at industry standards as some magical solution. Like, the shortage is going to take care of itself or capacity is going to magically fix itself. In reality, the standards start with us. And if we want the industry to thrive, to attract dedicated, passionate drivers, we need to take ownership of that responsibility. The media and the industries want to push reform. Fine, I get it. But what they won't tell you is that no matter regulation or reform will substitute for the grit and self-respect it takes to be a trucker. You can have the highest paying job and you have the best equipment and all the benefits in the world. But if you don't have a personal standard that backs that up, the industry is not going to help you. You got to help yourself. And you got to start from the beginning. Let me know in the comments. Call me in the studio line, 860-785-3547. Let's get this debate started. Tell me, if you disagree with me, I want to know why. If you agree with me, what can we do to send that message where it matters most? Let me know in the comments. Tell me right now. Grumpy, what's your thought? I mean, you have been routinely one of those that have routinely said we need better training and we need better standards. But I mean, when you think about it, standards start from within, okay? And in order for us to do what it is we expect others, I think it starts within. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's got to work with the factor within. I mean, every driver has got to work with each other. Your company you're working for has got to work with you. I mean, if you can't have teamwork all together, then you're not going to have anything. I mean, there is no I in team. I guarantee you, you won't find one.
Exactly. None of my controls are working. There we go. It's taking 10 minutes for things to work. So if things seem weird and messed up, I'm apologizing ahead of time. See, these are things I did a few minutes ago, and it's actually making me laugh. It's funny. Trucking, you're stepping into a whole new way of life. It's not just a job, it's a calling. It's a commitment, it's a lifestyle. It takes a standard of excellence only you can set. But when was the last time you accepted less and just did it just to keep moving? Larry, what about you? When was the last time you just took less than ideal just to get moved across the country or to your next load? I mean, does anything come to mind? I mean, does it start with you? Like I said, right.
I do that every day.
Well, what kind of message do you think that sends everyone else in the industry? Everybody from you down bitches and complains constantly because the rates are so low. Okay. Well, they're low because people are there getting them. It's not because they're there, it's because they're taking them. So, kind of in a sense, it starts with you philosophy kind of holds true on that, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree.
At what point do we draw the line?
You're going to take that lower rate to keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
I've said that a couple times. I mean, the I-35 corridor is about your best paying area. If you're out on the West Coast, East Coast, you're not going to get those $2-3 mile loads.
Right. Well, rates are relative. Okay, so let's step back from rates for just a minute and let's ask ourselves about training. No, you made a good point. I'm just better. Yeah, I'm kind of going around the gamut here. Personal responsibility is not just rates. It's not just how you run your business, but it's also about what people know when they get in, what they're told, what they need.
How about not pushing so many people through a training class just to put them in a truck?
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to raise. And
like you said, I mean, if when you're not everyone tells you the bad parts of trucking. They tell you the good parts. Oh, you'll make this, you'll make that, you'll be home this time and this time. Nothing is guaranteed in this industry. Nothing.
Yeah. Griff, I'm not picking on you, but I mean, this is a case that you're commenting about. It says, just got home and down San Antonio, helped my carrier by rescuing a load of truck that was broke down. Finished the delivery, made $100, helped the job. Yes. What I'm referring to isn't directly talking about that. I mean, good point. I mean, there's a time when you do something for less, like hurricane relief. A lot of times we're not taking full value loads, and most of us, I can't speak for all of us, but most of us take it just to get the supplies where they need. So let's not confuse issues. What I'm talking about with rates is, the immense amount of separate from these rescues and this all going on, you hear complaints on comments, videos, you name it, Discord, all these places where they talk about, how bad the market is, and everybody's trying to make this guess when it's going to get better, and I've been on a couple of live shows, Fate, Midlife, everybody said, if you don't like the rates that low, don't take them, so that's kind of in a sense where I'm getting my personal responsibility argument to begin, because it's one thing to be somebody like Griff taking that load to help out, to get the company going, to get the load delivered. But it's another entirely when you're on the load board and you're looking, and like Larry's case, you take a load to get somewhere better, a good load's coming up on the other end. That's to a small extent, yeah, okay, it's acceptable. But how often are we going to do things like that and provide that environment for when those rates fail to increase naturally? Because it's all supply and demand.
Can I answer this one?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
You know me, I'm never going to answer it directly. Personal accountability. Let's rewind a little bit here. He's talking about you could get the same amount of money if you're working at McDonald's. Let's be honest. Personal accountability, you got to be honest. If you're making what you would be at McDonald's, you're doing it wrong. Okay, number one. Number two,
yes.
If you want to be personally accountable to yourself and others, you got to be, first of all, willing to admit that you made a mistake, figure out how to fix it and get better, because everybody's going to make a mistake. I don't care who you are. No one does this perfectly. No one. And then lastly, when you're talking about rates, are you talking about freight rates or spot board rates? Because freight rates as a whole, I had this conversation with Fate Trucking earlier today. Freight rates as a whole are actually not bad. Spot board or spot rates are horrible.
Right. Well, the conversation I'm bringing up, the reason I'm mentioning it isn't because rates are horrible. I'm just bringing it up as an example to say, if you want rates to get better, you've got to look at where you're shopping.
Well, yeah, but you also got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, am I getting all my loads off the spot rates? Yeah. Well, then that's your problem. I mean, you have to be willing to put yourself out there and get customer freight in order to consistently make money in this business. If you're going to live off the spot market, you're done. I'm sorry, you won't last that long. We're not always going to be in COVID rates.
Gee, where have I heard that before?
I'm just saying, like, you got to be honest with yourself if you're going to be personally accountable.
Sounds
Very
like
true. Very true.
caller.
Don't talk too much. What's up, caller? Tell us who you are. I don't have call memory on my phone.
This is Griff USMC.
Griff, all right, Griff. I hope you didn't think I was picking on you, buddy. I was kind of picking on your situation, not you personally.
I was waiting down there for them to find me a load stuff. They found me some loads, but of course brokers didn't have all the right information or was there too late, whatever. But I had to deadhead home up here so Monday I can get decent load back out. But sometimes you got to take a loss to get going sometimes.
Yep.
But no, I didn't really mind helping out on that one, finishing out that load and everything, because heck, I was only like 10 miles away from where the guy broke down. He was only half a mile from the delivery.
Right. Well, that's good.
So,
yeah, I mean, a lot of people. Yeah, I don't know if that's the comment you left before you called, but a lot of people are they're taking less, but that's not because they want to make less. I mean, sometimes you do to get things delivered, in times of crises like Milton and like Helene and like the fires that Thumper was talking about. It's one thing to do that, but it's another entirely to be outside of a range of time where disasters happen. And you sit back and you as an individual complain about the rates while you are part of the problem. And that's kind of what I'm raising tonight. It's not the rates themselves. It's, the news reporters that bring up the newscast I started this segment with, then followed behind, well, we're taking, they're thinking that the average is $1.25. It's not. I mean, there's loads out there that pay better. The question we need to ask ourselves is, what are we doing to help improve that situation? And that's what I was hoping to bring up tonight.
Yeah, well, you got good points there and everything, but I also kind of would like to add something that you guys were going on about last night when you did the show. I didn't get a chance to see it, but you guys are going on about brokers and stuff.
Right.
Well, I know several brokers and stuff, but my point being, I left a comment down at the bottom of the video yesterday, but to the point, sometimes, okay, say you had a $7,000 load and say it was an oversized load.
Mm-hmm.
So some brokers, they'll keep $3,000 of it, just as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Then the driver will get $4,000.
Right.
But it depends where you're going and where you're going through. The broker would probably expect the driver to do all the overhead costs in terms of pilot cars, oversized permits, everything. Right. And so when you're for that $4,000, and plus you got fuel, so say you're going 1,000 miles and everything, you may not even have anything left of that $4,000 stuff when you get done and delivered it, because they kept majority of the money stuff, even though they were able to get the, as you said, stuff through the salesman and they got the load and everything, but they are not contributing money stuff to help finishing the load. And there's some brokers out there that will just keep the money and everything, and they expect you to do it for $2.50, $3 a mile stuff on oversized, and you got about 90% of it going for pilot car, fuel, and all this other stuff. You really ain't making anything on it. You're putting a lot of wear and tear on your vehicle, on your equipment, just to get it finished.
That's true. And then too, how much of that is actually spelled out in the contract before you take that load? I mean, because a lot of times they won't tell you. They'll expect you to just know it off the top of your head, and what's left is left.
Well, I've ran across situations where the broker would be making this deal and everything, and when you get there, what you're going to be transporting is not even ready. And they say, "Oh yeah, they do tear down and all this other stuff too." I've ran across that several times, and I've said I'm not doing this load because it's not ready to go for one, or it's not even pulled out stuff and everything. So it's like they expect you to do $1,000 worth of work on pennies on a dollar.
Yeah.
And expect you to be happy about it. But that's just my opinion, though. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody's got a valid. You got a valid
on that one, though.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got a valid opinion, as do you.
Can I ask the caller a question?
Sure, go ahead, John.
Why would you take that load?
Well, I wasn't really. I was kind of a company driver at the time, but when I got there, so I tell the guy that did the dispatch for us, so it's not even ready when they tell them that it is ready, stuff, and I didn't take it. If I was I'm using the oversized load.
Right.
As a company guy, you don't have a lot of choice anyway. But if you're an owner op, you got to know your numbers well enough to know whether you're going to make money on a load before you ever say okay to it. You know, so that's why I was like, why would you even take that load? But it's different if you're a company guy.
Well, like I pointed out, bait those stuff. You might have been in and out on that particular show, but when I used an example on say you got a load off the load board going from Cincinnati, Ohio to Omaha, Nebraska, but it's like say it's a multi-stop. Well, they showed on the load board going from point A to point B. Say it's 900 miles, okay, and maybe more or less, but then again they say, okay, well it's a multi-stop, but you got to stop down in Clarksville, Arkansas for one drop, then you got to go back up to say Cameron, Missouri for the second drop. Then you'll go across, and then you'll go on up and go into Omaha.
Right.
Well, they're not factoring in that extra miles when you're going from Cincinnati down to Clarksville. You're probably adding, say, another 500 miles, but they want you to do it for $2,000.
Right.
So that it's like if they don't always put all the information on that stuff on the description, and that's when you look at it. So they're like, okay, you call them up. That's why you ask questions, but
yeah,
sometimes you don't even find out about it until you start looking at the recon.
And then there's always the classic difference of how they're coming up with their mileage, because they always have people always talk about the difference between practical miles and actual miles, or if I'm wording that right, tell me if I'm getting it wrong, but there's always a difference in how they figure it plus how you figure it, and it always comes
They
up.
always use Google Maps. The brokers I've dealt with, they would go from point A to point B, Google Maps, and that's car route.
I was told it was zip code to zip code, but yeah, I could be wrong on that.
Well, it depends, but yeah, majority of the time it is zip code to zip code, but still, it's like from Wichita, Kansas, around Indianapolis area, it's like 700 miles.
Right.
But that's mostly interstate, so you can take a truck on it. But there's some places that you'd be taking state roads and county roads just to get to stuff, because down in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. God forbid you're going through like North Carolina at this time of the, after all that. They can't even begin to price that even accurately. But that's a whole nother topic. I mean, but I think you get the point I'm making.
Well, I think this conversation actually directly relates to personal accountability, because if you'd made a mistake and took that load, then guess what? That broker's not getting my business again. You know what I mean? If they're trying to hide miles inside of a multi-stop, I mean, you can make great money in multi-stop, but if a broker's doing unethical things, don't work with them. Make the mistake once, not twice.
Yep.
But when you get out started and stuff, you don't have a whole lot of options sometimes, like with TQL. Yeah, if you got a brand new MC that's only a couple months old, the ones that are actually worth working for, they'll tell you, oh, you have to have a year's at least worth of experience, or you have to be active for a year before we start working with you.
I could tell you some nightmares about TQL too.
Yeah.
We we got a wonderful guest joining us on the panel right now. Fake Truckin, God bless you. How you doing today?
I'm wonderful. How are you guys this evening?
Great. You got anything to say to Griff?
Oh boy, Griff. Boy, Griff.
It's going up anyway sometimes. So
you do a lot. That's the whole reason I'm doing this. I'm waiting. Fireworks are just kicking.
No, I'm sitting here listening and
sometimes
thinking.
I don't actually have a choice when I take a load, because like right now on the carrier I'm at,
right,
I would like to be able to get on the load board. I try to let them do it stuff because they got contract loads, but I try to get on and use their MCs where I could look, but they've had issues with people in the past booking loads, but I don't quite have the option stuff unless I get my own MC to actually get on the load board and look, or at least permission from my carrier that I'm on.
Pardon me for
look and
pardon me for sounding stupid for just a second, but how long have you been with this carrier?
Oh, I've been here about a month and a half. I've not been doing too bad.
So you're the new guy. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and really stuff, but I've actually done pretty well.
Yeah.
And if I'm not counting my truck payment or whatever for one of my settlements, I've been doing it. But if I can get rid of my truck payment altogether and everything, and I don't have nothing major to go wrong, I've been doing about 50-50 on when it comes to on my settlements and everything. Okay. So I've been doing very well on my fuel.
Right.
So,
well, I can understand the hesitancy you're talking about, because being the new guy, you're really not quite sure of the system, so you're trying to feel things out. But yeah.
But I've been on them quite a bit stuff, because I've had to deadhead about 300 mile stuff and go pick up a contract load. It's like is it worth my time stuff in terms of?
You have to wonder sometimes. Yeah.
Cover that.
Yeah.
So they've been pretty good. So I can't complain. So.
Griff, hang tight, because I think Fate's got something to add to this. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah. Without sharing too many details, just because you've emailed me a couple of times, Griff, so I'm not going to put your business out there, obviously. But what you just said, like, I hope you understand that you're probably doing better allowing them to kind of not book your freight, but pull their customer freight than going on the load board. That's just a reality. Yeah. And I hope you also understand, because I know you watch people much smarter than me too on YouTube. That customer freight does fluctuate, but it's going to keep you afloat longer than like the spot market would. You know what I mean? Yep. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
the biggest issue I got is when they try to find me a backhaul, they just seem like they don't really negotiate a whole lot in terms of trying to get a little bit better rates. So I don't know the circumstances, but it just seems that way sometimes. So that's why I would like to see if I can maybe find something, because they may overlook something or whatever, or they just got set broker.
Well, negotiating rates right now is not easy. And I'm just being honest with you, man. Like,
I know.
I feel like if I can pull an extra $150 or $200 out of a broker, I've done something good for the day. You know, but
I'll be honest with you. Even if it was like a 500 mile and it's $1,000 on the load board and 500 miles, but it's going the direction I want, if I could get an extra $150 just to cover the reefer fuel, I think I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Everything. So
every little bit you can get is an improvement on yesterday. So, you know, it's always worth it in the end to ask, even if it's that little bit. And I want to quickly, while both of you are here, I want to quickly address the comment on the screen. I'm honestly sick and tired of low rate conversations. And you know what? This originally wasn't about rates. It's just one of the factors of what I chose to talk about tonight. That's a personal responsibility thing. The thing I wanted to really focus on was training and standards, because you know what? If midlife were here, he'd be saying, you want more regulations. No, what I'm focused on, and rates is part of it, It's what you do and how you set your business model up. And I think this dynamic between you and Fate is a perfect example of it. You know, I mean, because you're starting out. Fate, he's been in it for what, 24, 25 years? Not entirely sure, but I mean, you got two ends of the spectrum, and how each of you talk about your business model intrigues me, because it just goes to show standards are something that start inside and they go out. And I think if more people felt that way, these considered conversations, considered sick as it were, would happen a lot less. What say you?
Yeah. Well, with Fate stuff and everything, because stuff I've been following him for the last couple of years stuff, and really, he has his business model working pretty good for him, and my goal is to somewhat be in that same general area as he is in terms of the way he did it. He not really lucked out, but when he got into it stuff, he was it was during COVID stuff, so he was able to get his truck paid off quickly and everything stuff. So he did it smart, and he's still doing it smart and everything. And I'm hoping to kind of claw my way up stuff so where I can get everything paid off rather quickly and not have much overhead stuff, so where I can just worry about my truck running and go out, make money, enjoy myself.
That's the important part. You want to enjoy yourself, as Midlife says, make every day count. Enjoy every day at work. I fully agree with that. And 7Cs, I don't have anything against TQL. I just hear a lot of people do. Just saying. Hashtag just saying. I mean, everybody's got their different opinions. I mean, I personally have never dealt with TQL, but you know, I've heard a lot of people complain. Do you want to add something else to it, Faye? And you're on that side of my eyeball, and the call's over here, so I'm kind of having to dive in between. So go ahead.
Just real quick, because of what Griff was just saying, and I guess I've never really looked at it that way. When I started this, Griff was absolutely right. It was I started right as the market exploded, right? Like that what Griff said was a true statement. But at that time, I did not have to pay my truck off in 6 payments. I chose to do that. Fast forward to where we are now, I've done the same thing with double the amount that I spent on my first truck. Now, is it as easy as it was when I started out? No, it's not. The reason I'm able to do it is because of how I live my personal life. It's not, it is about how I set things up for my business, but it's actually way more beyond that. It's how I have set up my personal life to live very frugally, or frugal is the wrong word. Like I don't need a lot to live in my personal life. So I put more back in my business.
Would moderate be a better word?
Yeah, I mean, the joke is, I mean, there's some people that know things that I have, you know, but like I hesitate to talk about it because I don't want people to get the wrong impression. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Like, the reason I own some of the stuff I own is because of decisions I made 20 years ago. It has nothing to do with the decision I made today. Does that make any sense?
You worked and earned it. So, I mean, decisions have a lot to do with it, and accountability behind that has a lot to do with it, but you worked and earned it. So,
and
I mean,
the biggest problem with a lot of the newer drivers in this industry now, you could easily make $150,000 even as an owner operator. If you make $150,000 a year, so if you're doing well, but when you go to a house, new car, new truck, or whatever, and you got $5,000 or $6,000 worth of payments going out per month, stuff and everything, and you also got to count on top of your truck and maintenance and all this other stuff. When you're only making $16,000 a month, stuff, but you still got to take, if you're with the carrier or whatever stuff, you only get half of that, and you still have to take care of all your personal stuff. you're going to be drowning really quick because you got too much going out and everything. So, and right now myself, I'm trying to get to the point where I don't have a lot going out other than just worrying about keeping my truck going. But I didn't mean to get the subject or anything like that. But,
dude, you livened it up. You actually helped us learn something.
Last night.
Yep. I appreciate the phone calls from you and everybody out there, man. You guys help us learn something. We are because of you. So thank you for the call.
Yeah, thank you very much. You guys have a good evening, and don't run over a curb, Scott.
Yeah, you take it easy, Griff. Take it easy, bro.
All right. Keep it rolling, my friend.
You guys have a good evening.
All right. Keep it rolling, my friend. So, yeah, what I mainly wanted to raise tonight, and the biggest benefit, I think, if anybody can pull from this show, the biggest benefit is, I mean, rates are part of it, yeah, but accountability starts in many other ways. You know, how you do it, how you start, how you finish, what you tell others, what you show others, things like that. I mean, you know, the media and others around you can push all they want for reforms, but does that do you base your changes on them, or do you base it on you? Because I've always starts with you. It starts with everybody out there in this industry watching this stream right now, setting a higher standard, one that no industry regulation can replace, not one that somebody from an OIDA or an ATA or a chapter of any union, they don't have control over the standards you set for yourself. They can affect change and affect it, but they can't make it less than it is. So here's where I turn it over to you guys. And I'm going to let you guys dictate whether I'm right or wrong on this whole thing. Because I've said my piece, and I've said in other videos, that it starts within us. It is an inside-out equation, just like my thumbnail says. Okay? It's about taking accountability for you and what you want for yourself. And by doing better for yourself, by default, you do better for everyone else. Thumper, you've been quiet this whole time on this very topic. So you tell me, man. You think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Or do you see it other ways?
You're right, you're wrong, and I see it in other ways. I mean, we're all entitled to our opinion. Well, honestly, kind of rewind from, I don't know if you guys remember the topic when I first started jumping in with you guys. Who was your mentor? That right there is your best training tool out there, is finding somebody to be a mentor.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I was wondering what you were talking about for a second.
Yes, that is. I mean, my mentor was my dad. He's a truck driver. He owns his own business. I've learned a lot of stuff from him.
Right.
Now, and as far as goals and stuff like you were just talking about, I set myself goals. I don't do promises. I do goals, because if I don't achieve that goal, I'm not too hard on myself. But that just pushes me the next time, the next go around. Like I do monthly goals with my business. If I don't reach that goal this month, that means I got to try a little bit harder next month to reach that goal. And I mean, training, regulations, I mean, we all have our differences on that. But if you could find yourself a good mentor to make you a better truck driver, to make you a better business person, you're going to succeed.
Very true.
Kind of what I have to say.
There you go. Grumpy, what say you, buddy?
Well, on that topic, you know, just kind of like what Thumper was saying, I mean, you've got to have a good mentor. You've got to have somebody that's had experience and is willing to teach and help you understand how the trucking industry is. I mean, you can't just jump into it and expect to know everything. And even me, 24 plus years out here, and I guarantee you, Fate will agree with me. We learn something every day differently. It doesn't matter what it is, but we will learn something different every day. And then if we learn it, we pass it on if somebody wants to learn more too. Knowledge is the key.
Yep. That is very true. I want to acknowledge WCF Invaders, still lurking in the background. Career change paying off. God bless you. Thank you for the well wishes. Feel for you guys. Hope everything's well with each of you. It's been a couple of shows since I've heard from you, but I'm glad you checked in with us. Another fellow a minute ago checking in from Manchester. Dude, seriously, thank you for checking in, and welcome the input from other countries. But I doubt seriously you're going to be able to get a license over here. You got to be legal here in the U.S. first. So that's all I'm going to answer that question with. But appreciate you checking in with us. Larry, what about you? You've been quiet. You haven't really said a whole lot. What do you think about standards from the inside out? Mentors, you got anything to add to it?
I made your show go off track. My bad.
No, you didn't. This is the direction it was supposed to go in, man. It's you guys run the show.
I
keep going,
derailed
brother.
it.
No, you didn't.
No, it's just everybody's saying the same thing. Learn from your mistakes. Don't just jump into this thinking you could do it, because this job is not for everybody.
No,
it's not.
It is. It's different. I mean, there's a lot of people that take it a lot different than it really is. They get into it thinking it's one thing, and they find out the hard truth, and then they're stuck because they've already got how many thousands in school, if done right. Anyway, so it's rather difficult when you get the realization of what it really is. For some of us, it's too late to make that change, but those guys need to stay, like a company driver position, and usually,
me personally, I'll never stop driving.
Yeah. That's where the tension problem that Louis was speaking of comes from, because people get into it. They don't expect it to be something, they were told, they find out what it is, and then they all ass. They don't want to do it. They feel like they've been lied to. So that's where the retention problem is.
Kind of add on.
Go ahead.
Kind of add on to Larry a little bit. I mean, your OTR guys, I think Faith can kind of relate on this too, and a lot of you guys. There's times where you're not home for months at a time. Right. And you got to be prepared to that. If you have family and kids, it's really hard. It really is. But like I know Grumpy, he's home every weekend, and that works on his schedule. For my schedule, I go home. I haven't been home in a month. Let's just be honest, because I'm too busy over here trying to run these trucks and everything, and I live 6 hours away from our shop. That's my choice, though.
Right.
Eventually, I would like to move all my trucks in my shop down too close to my house and stuff, but my situation, this is how it's working out best for me. And just acquiring the company and stuff. But you got to be ready to make that step to get into it if you're going to be an OTR guy. I mean, Larry, you're out for months at a time. I do know that. But that's something we choose to do. Say if you want to be home every night and whatnot, then you need to be more of a regional person, like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, FedEx, stuff like that. Grumpy's got something to say, but
go ahead, Grumpy.
I wanted to add to that.
Yeah, valuable. Yeah, go ahead, Grumpy.
Well, Thumper was basically saying, I get to go home every weekend. Well, I've told you guys this. I've done this so long that it's more of a hobby to me. I love driving, yes, but I've learned that I'm not going to get rich out here. So I take time with my family now, and that's what I want to do. I make a little bit of money to be able to pay a few bills and enjoy time with my family every weekend, and that's what I enjoy doing, plus driving, of course.
Well, of course, the important thing is that you enjoy what you do, because honestly, if you don't, all that we're talking about tonight is for nothing.
Exactly.
If you don't enjoy what you do, then it's really on you, honestly.
There's a saying I heard a while ago, and it was on a TV show. I know some of you guys might know it. Do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah, I forget who said that. I think I have a time or two. Just saying.
Letterkenny. I got it off Letterkenny.
Yeah.
I have something to add.
No, go ahead, John. I was just going to come to you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there on you. Well, you guys, we're talking about personal accountability, and I'll tell you another part of that. While I heard all these conversations, I was just sitting here thinking about it. And another thing is judging other people when you don't know the story. Like, Bates' business is different than everybody else's, so what Bates does is Bates' business, you know? What I do is my business. What you do is your business. So I want to figure out a correlation to show company versus owner-operator how you can show that. Well, here's a great example. As a company driver, your dispatcher calls you and says, hey, I have this little load, it's not going to pay you real well, but if you take care of this one, the next one I got your back on. If you choose to take that one, now that's on you, that's your own personal accountability, but you're building a relationship with your dispatcher that could pay off in the end. As an owner-operator, sometimes you take that load that doesn't pay so well to get you to another load that pays a lot better. And it's about, again, building a relationship with a broker, whatever. That's all personal accountability. And yes, if you have that, I think it makes our industry better. Focused on yourself, not on everybody else, though.
Exactly. That's what it comes down to. I mean, we have no better option but to build relationships, not just with the people we work with, but the people we work for. So it goes both ways. You know, they're saying in the audience, you guys are amazing. Thank you. If you like our show, go down, hit the like button. It's all about relationships. You are best advised to heed John's advice. The better you make your day by building those relationships and the better bridges you build, the easier your life is going to be getting down the road. Bate, you got anything to add to that?
Well, I just want to say I believe everybody that has spoken, John, Larry, Thumper, Grumpy, I think you're hearing wisdom, like, and I'm being honest, like, mentorship is a big thing in trucking. I firmly believe that. Maybe it's because I come from like the old school style of trucking where mentors molded me into the type of driver I am today. And then I look at my business and I look at my mentorship that I have continuing in my business, and they've led me to make some good decisions. Now, that doesn't mean I always listen to my mentors, but getting to what John just said, because I fall in this trap. I do sometimes worry about other people's stuff, other people's businesses. And it's because of what, like, 7C's said down in the comments earlier. He's tired of hearing the bad rate discussion.
Right.
I kind of am like in agreement with him. And if you really listen to a lot of things on YouTube, it is people bashing rates and things like that. So like I take it upon myself to call that out a little bit. Like, why are you saying this? Like, it make like you, I don't know how to explain this clearly enough. So I interject my personal opinion in other people's businesses when I really at times should focus more on my own. And John can attest to that. I had a conversation with driving with John earlier today, where I was saying something that really is none of my business to be saying, even though I believe in my heart what I'm saying is good and true and words of wisdom. But in reality, maybe I should keep my mouth shut. Does that make sense?
I've made those mistakes. I've made those mistakes before, so believe me, I can definitely attest to that. I do it almost every day with my wife, so I can definitely attest to that.
Well, I wouldn't say what Bate and I do is the same thing. Like,
I'm talking something totally different, John. Don't even go there.
No, I don't think it's I don't think it's the same thing. The reason why is, like, we bounce things off of each other all the time. Like, there's a difference between judging somebody by what they do without knowing the whole story and having someone that you can lean on and bounce ideas off of. We may not always, like he said, he may not always listen to his mentor, but it's good to have that person.
Yeah.
So
always having an objective opinion is a benefit. Yeah.
Like he says, today was a great example. It's a mind. What we were talking about basically is mindset. his mindset's a little different than my mindset. What's
Right.
right for him might not be the same for me, and neither one might be, wrong or right. But for him, my mindset might not work,
True that.
So
It's different for everybody. And I think that's what hopefully makes this show such a success, because we get to hear more than one mindset. And setting people up for success is what I hope to be able to do. Not only this channel, but others as well. Whether I touch y'all's channels, y'all's audience, or my other channel, World of Truckin'. That's all I want to do. Is I want to set people up with the right mindset and give them everything they need to become better and succeed in life. I mean, that's not too much to ask of anybody, is it? So, you guys are amazing tonight. You guys, we're having an actual discussion here. I don't mind saying that it is one powerful discussion tonight.
So
But like anything else, huh?
Yeah. Oh, I seen Faith raise his hand, and then I was gonna add something too here. So
Yeah, go ahead, man.
like,
What you got, Faith?
I know. Oh, Faith. Yeah, go. I'll go first, and then Faith can go.
Oh, okay.
Because I got
Okay.
something to add. So like what I do, my line of work between the cattle and the grain, and I know with the way I do stuff is not going to work with like the freight that John and Freight do, or Fate do. So I know I
Right.
definitely will fail if I ever go over to dry van or reefer. I know I'm going to go. That's going to be a complete learning curve, and vice versa with them. If they came over to what I do,
Right.
they may succeed, they may not succeed. It just kind of depends on how you run your business. It's just
Right.
you got to find something that works for you. And as in Fate and John, it's dry van, reefer, flatbed, whatever they do. And for me, it's the cattle and the grain. So like
Right.
that was some advice I wanted to give out there. You got to find something that works for you and stick with it.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense entirely. All right. Anything else to add there, Fate, before we wrap it up?
Thumper couldn't be more right. Like there are so many different types of trucking out there that for anybody getting into it, find out what you like to do. If you like to work hard, if you like to be outside a lot, if you like that kind of work, think of flatbed. Think of, if you want to be pulling into construction sites and stuff like that, flatbed work. If you want to be wrestling with a bull, well, go do what Thumper does. You know what I mean? You got a stick to shock them and get them on the trailer. It's finding here's the key to trucking. Try and find a niche. Try and find a good market to work out of, and just work hard and listen to people. Listen, I listen to some people that, other than their advice in trucking, I have nothing in common with them, and I probably wouldn't want to talk to them. That's just me being honest. But
on a personal level, you probably wouldn't deal with them in your life.
Right.
But
ouch, that really hurt. Wow.
I'm just adding to what he said. I'm just saying, on a personal level, you might not agree with anything they do, but on a professional level, you probably learn a lot from them. That's the correlation I was trying to make. Shame on you, John.
Hey, Fate, just want to add one thing. Sometimes that shocking stick doesn't always work and you're running for your life.
So, man, probably about 3 years ago, I had a subscriber that came and met me in Virginia when my truck was broke down, and he was a cattle hauler, and I happened to be next to it wasn't a farm. What do you call those? Like a pen area? Yeah, it's like where they go before they get put into the trailers and brought to wherever they need to be brought to.
Your chutes or the sale barn.
Yeah. Yeah. So I went there with him, and he put me in the back of that cattle trailer behind one of the like doors, I guess you would call it, that separate the different sections of the trailer. That was a whole different freaking world, man. I saw things, and I couldn't do it. I'll be honest with you, man. I couldn't do what you do, and it's not because they had to put a cow down there, and that's just something that being a vegan. No, I'm kidding. I am a vegan, but it has nothing to do for like political reasons or anything like that, or ethical reasons. Yeah, I don't think I could do what you do. And then feeling those things move around when we're driving down the road. We come to a stop sign, and that freaking trailer, like it was nuts. It was nuts.
Well, it's the best way to describe a cattle trailer is driving an unbaffled tanker. Literally, that's what it is. And honestly, I will have to agree with you, Fate, when we have to put a cow down either at the plant or whatever because it's sick, or it does get to me. It really does. But I grew up around cattle, so it's something I'm used to, and it's what I prefer to do.
No, it's definitely what they did when I was at that place was as humane can be. It just was, I didn't grow up in that world, so it was a shock to me, like watching.
And it gets to you. It gets to you.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I said, it does get to me too.
So Fate, whenever you were,
go ahead.
Say just something. So Fate, while you were there experimenting as a livestock hauler for just a little bit to see what it was like, did you decide to wear some of that nice cologne that those cows provide?
Oh, so I made a mistake. Let me tell you about this. It's in one of my really old videos. I wish I could tell you which one it was, but
Christina, thank you for the thumbs up. Please go down below and hit the like button for me. I'd appreciate that, dear. Thank you for stopping by, Christina.
So I didn't realize that these cows, like, movement scares them, type of thing, right? Like fast movement scares them as they're being loaded into the trailer. And I'm wearing a high vis jacket, and I'm filming. I'm doing the YouTube thing. Holy crap, dude. I mean, like I said, I'm behind this door. That thing started pissing all like I got drenched. And the guy's not yelling at me, but he goes, Scott, quit moving around in there. They have more than one now in this area that I'm in, and they're trying to get back out of the trailer. And he's like, man, if these things turn around, the whole line is going to turn around on me. But
so you did accept some of their wonderful cologne.
Oh yeah.
Can I draw a very strange correlation here?
Oh, what do you got, John?
So you have Fate Trucking from Minnesota, drives a reefer. You have Thumper, grew up on a farm, hauls cattle. You have Grumpy, lives out west in the heat and the dry area, pulls a dry van. I'm not sure about John, but I just find that funny. Maybe we just help everybody find their niche. Where are you from?
There you go. That's funny.
Good point.
Yeah. To anybody in the comments, links probably aren't going to work, so don't go ahead and leave any links unless you check with me first. That's nice that you're putting it there, but yeah, I'm not doing that. Not on this live show. Guys, I appreciate this. I mean, yeah, we got a cattle hauler, reefer guy, dry van fella, household mover. We got Larry over here. Yeah, we got different.
Geez, thanks.
Well, I can't get a rise out of you any other way, so I had to do something.
We got Larry just sitting over here. Larry don't know what are you talking about?
Well, you're a reaper guy, so I couldn't really put you in the same box with Fate. I don't think Fate would appreciate that very much.
Why are you throwing me under the bus?
You're a reefer guy.
Yeah, I'm glad that Larry's a reefer guy. Why would that bother me?
I ain't throwing either one of you under the bus.
Boy.
He throws me under the bus and backs it up every time.
I'm pretty sure he meant something by
Yeah,
that, Pate. I really do.
Now you're getting personal, Larry. I'm sorry. You can back off now. As
Okay.
Big Ben says in the movie. Anyway, guys, I appreciate everybody offering their 2 cents in this wonderful evening. It's yet
Uh-oh.
Did he go away?
I think he froze.
Well,
He's
Boss
kicking us
Man
all
has
out one by
decided.
one.
Yeah, Boss Man has decided to just kind of go in the freezer and try the Reaper game out.
Oh, we're at 1:20. You
I
guys
know
getting
I'm
ready
about to lose
close
my
out.
internet signal, so I'm trying to
there
end
you
this.
Oh, there he
discreetly.
is.
Oh, yeah. You guys don't see what I see here, so yeah, I'm
Okay,
trying
so
to do this
final
discreetly.
thoughts.
Right now, yeah, because I'm about to lose my internet.
All right. Well, I'll make it quick. God bless
Very.
all the God bless all the firefighters and EMTs and everybody fighting the fires, hurricanes, everything else. Hopefully, you guys learned some stuff from us cattle, reefer, and household movers. We don't do it just for our family. We do it for you guys.
God bless you. I'm glad you ended it that way. Guys, I'll tell you what, I would love to keep this going just based on the fact that it was an intriguing conversation. But you know what? Technology says otherwise. Despite that, we ask you to keep subscribed, keep liking our show, and keep tuning in. Wednesday and Saturday, we are here for you guys at 7 p.m., giving you guys what's new, what's inspiring, and what's needed on your end. You keep checking back with us, and we'll keep telling you the best way to make trucking great again. Guys, don't forget, it's the trucks that make the deliveries, but it's you that make the difference. Check on these guys in the pad. Driving with John, Fake Truckin, Larry, Grumpy, all of them. They mean well. They're doing you right. Till next time, share the wealth. Knowledge is power. Remember, keep the faith, keep it real, and keep it rolling.